The Eminence and Shadow, episode 20, Advent of the Demon. So this is the final episode of the season, which is it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to see this series end, or at least the season end. I'm hoping that we're going to get a second season. But we start off with an immediate flashback of just what kind of led up to the finale of the previous episode. So Mundane Man beating Iris, breaking through the window, stopping Rose from killing herself, and then Beatrix confronting him, and then the battle. And that's pretty much what this entire episode is. This entire episode is pretty much just one big giant fight scene with little moments sprinkled in between. So Iris sees Beatrix and Shadow fighting each other, and she kind of has like this montage flashback of everything that's happened with Shadow in the past. And she decides to get involved in the fight. So she shows up and she draws this blade. It's a mithril blade with ancient runes on it. So it's one of the artifacts. And she uses it to fight against Shadow. And so we basically have just this three-way fight. Well, it's not really a three-way. It's more a 2v1. With Beatrix and Iris teaming up to try to take on Shadow. And none of it is working. Shadow is just easily winning. He's beating up both of them at the same time. Meanwhile, we cut to the king, Iris's father, and he's informed that Perv is in a carriage. He's headed towards the outskirts. He's most likely running back to the Oriana Kingdom. They have the body of the Oriana King, and Iris' father says, all right, make sure to take good care of that body. We're going to return it to the Oriana Kingdom. And we also need to prepare ourselves because we might have a war on our hands. And then we come back to the fighting. And we just basically had them fighting across rooftops, fighting throughout the city. Iris again, trying to show up and help. Nothing's working. It's funny how Iris is trying to protect the kingdom. And yet this fight, especially on her parts, is causing nothing but a lot of destruction. Because Iris is just using her mithril blade, and she's just swinging around, throwing out magical blasts with these swing. And of course, it's dodging it. So the blasts are just destroying buildings and stuff like that. And I don't think people have been able to evacuate in time. There are people evacuating since the beginning of the attack, but there's still a bunch of people left in the city. So who knows how much collateral damage is being caused to innocent civilians. But eventually Cid starts fighting them with 2 crowbars. So we get a callback to the very first episode where back in the real world, or his past life, he fought with the crowbars. Well, he's fighting with the crowbars, and he's able to take on both of them without any problem. Meanwhile, we cut to Rose, who has escaped from the stadium. She's in the alleyway of the city, and she's wondering what to do. And that's when Alpha shows up. And Alpha informs her, you got 2 choices. 1, you can continue fighting alone. Or 2, you can fight alongside Shadow Garden. You can join us. And Rose is wondering, well, if I join you, while you help me save the kingdom, do you intend to save Oriana Kingdom? And Alpha says, we're not going to do anything to assist you the way you are right now. If you want to save your kingdom, you got to show your worth. You got to join us, and you got to prove yourself, and you got to prove that your kingdom is worth saving. And eventually she decides to join. We also get this moment where we have Claire trying to find Cid. And I guess Claire won. Claire wins the tournament by default. I don't know how you can necessarily call her the winner. I guess just everyone else was disqualified. You would think that once there's a terrorist attack that the whole event would stop. But yeah, Claire is the winner, which brings unfortunate news. It means that our boy, I'm going to try not to lose, did in fact lose. So, God, that just broke my heart. Not only do we have the end of this season, but we also have our boy, I'm going to try not to losing. He doesn't get to live up to his name. He unfortunately loses. Well, I guess he lives up to the name of trying not to lose, but he does lose, which is a shame. I have no idea how I could have forgotten this. I think it's because it's just a thrown away sense. Claire winning the tournament, if I recall, because it's been, so we have the tournament, and then we have a couple of arcs after the tournament. We have I'll say real quick. We have a vampire arc. We have a economy crashing arc, and then we have a past arc, or a past life arc, which is what we're on right now in terms of the manga. But I don't recall Claire winning the tournament. I think it's just because it's a throwaway line, because I don't think anything comes from it. But correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, it's been a few arcs back, so I don't really remember it. Not that it matters, because it's not brought up in this entire episode. It's just kind of a throwaway line where Sid's dad is super excited that Claire won the tournament, so they have to throw like a feast, and that's kind of it. But yeah, we get more fighting between the three characters. We have this funny moment where it's also kind of sad if you think about it, where Anne Rose is waiting at the train stop with a little pocket watch, and she's waiting for Mundane Man, because if anyone remembers, she told Mundane Man, if you change your mind, you wish to join me, I will, meet me at the station here. And if you don't show up by this time, then I would assume that you don't want to join. And so she actually waits at the station, and she doesn't see Mundane Man. So she's like, I hope I see you again one day, Mundane Man. And she starts walking away. And as she's walking away, Cid arrives as Shadow, and he's fighting Beatrix and Iris. So this is kind of funny how the man that she was waiting for is literally right there. She just obviously doesn't know. It also is kind of weird how she doesn't decide to help. Like, this entire city is under attack, and Ad Rose is just like, not my problem. I'm going home. Like, there's a bunch of like buildings being blown up due to the fight between Shadow, Beatrix, and Iris. There's just a bunch of explosions going on. People are being scared. People are trying to evacuate the city. And Anna Rose is just like, well, Mundane Man's not here. I'm leaving. But yeah, eventually the fight leads to like a clock tower where Cid just completely annihilates them. He knocks Iris down to the floor, knocks Beatrix on top of Iris, kicks her in the stomach, and just smashes them like together into the floor till it cracks. He just beats them. They're done. And he's going to leave when Iris says that you're not going to be able to get away. Like, every night in the city has been mobilized. They're going to turn the whole kingdom upside down for you. Like, you're now the number one enemy of Midgar, and there's no place for you to run. And then we just have this badass moment where Cid's like, run? Who's running? To where? And why? And then he just gives like this evil cackle. Reminds me a lot of Light from Death Note. But yeah, he just kind of cackles maniacally, and then he gathers up all this power. Like, he creates this huge purple dome around the entire city. And we just have this funny moment where, like, on the outskirts of the city, still within the dome, is Alexia, and she's like practicing her sword techniques, and she has no idea what the hell is going on. But yeah, Cid basically says, I am, and then we get this like really quick flash of like Cid growing up and gathering strength and all this stuff, and he mouths the word atomic. And then he blue balls us, because rather than actually going atomic, there's just a big flash of lights, the barrier drops, the sky lightens up. It's no longer dark. It's now like sunny and bright, and Cid is gone. And Iris drops to her knees, and basically she like mind breaks. She just starts bawling like a baby. And we see this newspaper where it's said that, like, in the newspaper it says that the demon Shadow was chased away by Iris and Beatrix. How wrong that is. So just like real life, you can't trust the news in the world of the Eminence and Shadow. But yeah, the demon Shadow was chased away by Iris and Beatrix. Rose is still missing after she killed her father. And the person reading this newspaper is Sherry. And we just have Sherry in her room surrounded by a bunch of photos of Shadow. It's a bunch of wanted photos of Shadow. And she's basically like plotting how she's going to kill Shadow. And she just has this like yandere expression on her face. And it's just like, man, you just think about like all the people that Cid has unknowingly broken through his actions as Shadow. But yeah, Beatrix says her goodbye to Iris. She ends up leaving the city. She's kind of disappointed that she wasn't able to find Alpha. And as she's about to leave, she tells Iris, like, don't take your defeat too seriously. There are many things that mortals can't defeat. And Iris says, you don't got to worry. Like, basically, her fight with Shadow has just kind of resolved her to get stronger so she can beat him next time. And as Beatrix is leaving on the train, she just says that her journey wasn't a total loss. As she pulls out a takeout wrapper folded into a crane. And it was the wrapper that belonged to the burger that Cid gave her. So Cid has once again won the hearts of another maiden. This time Alpha's aunt. And a new school term starts. Cid is with Poe, and he's wondering like what happened to Skell. And then Poe says that Skell is taking a job. And Cid's like, but the school year just started. And then we cut to where Skell is forced to become a fisherman so that he can pay off his debts that he lost through all his gambling. And then we get this like cute little shot of Zeta in like a sailor outfit because she's on the ship as well. We also get Delta in just her swimsuit, so that's awesome. It was nice to see our girl Delta, even if it was just really quick. Meanwhile, we cut back to Rose. She reaches the town that Cid lives in, and Alpha comes out and explains that where we're going is past the mountains and deep into the woods. And Rose is like, but that place is infested with beasts. And Alpha explains that Shadow once went into the mountains and he battled the Mist Dragon and he beat the Mist Dragon. And so due to that loss, the dragon dubbed Shadow as the ruler of the realm, and he like breathed on him, like he bathed him in dragon's breath. And they eventually reached their destination in the forest, and it's the city of Alexandria, which has been converted into a Shadow Garden base of operations. And for anyone who doesn't know, Alexandria was once like a kingdom. It's the kingdom that we see in, I think, episode 2, where we see Cid and the original 7 Shadow Garden members. And this is where they tell Cid that they're going to go their separate ways. Basically, Cid thinks that they're going to abandon him altogether, but they're actually going to spread their influence and gather informants and find out more on the Cult Diabolos. That kingdom that they were on, that's Alexandria. And they basically converted it into their base, and they kind of dismantled the kingdom and built a giant statue of Cid. So it's kind of funny because it's like Cid's whole thing is working in the shadows, no one knowing who you are, what your goals are, and yet Shadow Garden decides to build a giant statue of him as their base of operations. So anyone who happens to come across Alexandria will immediately know, oh, this is where Shadow Garden is, because they can see the base, because they can see the statue. But yeah, Alpha takes Rose to Lambda, who just looks awesome as hell, and explains, hey, this is Rose. She's the new recruit. Lambda, I want you to train her. She's going to join your group. And Lambda calls over 664 and 665 and tells Rose that your new name is now number 666. That's what you're going to be referred to as now on. Cast out your name, your past, your possessions, everything. You're going to be reborn now as number 666. Rose, she slashes Rose's clothes. So Rose is basically completely naked because she's casting away everything that Rose once was. And one of the things that's falling in front of her is a little wrapper. And it's the wrapper that she treasures the most because it's a wrapper that Cid gave her. And she reaches out to grab it when Lambda slashes it into pieces. And basically that final connection to Cid is gone. And Rose just breaks down into tears and starts crying. And Then we have the Moonlight Sonata play, and we cut to Shadow playing on the piano, and then he walks away after coming up with a great idea, and that's how it ends. So it is kind of interesting because speaking of Rose becoming a Shadow Garden member, the name of the title is Advent of the Demon, and you think that it might be Cid because they refer to Cid as the demon. The newspaper refers to the demon Cid, or the demon Shadow. But I think the Advent of the Demon is actually referring to Rose because her new designation is 666, which a lot of people think is the number of the beast. So yeah, there's also a very, very interesting moment where in episode 1, most of it is that flashback, right? But at the end of episode 1, we have Cid with his Shadow Garden members. And we cut to different Shadow Garden members out in the city. And there's this very quick shot. It's like super quick. You might, blink and you might miss it. And the shot is of 664 and 665. And behind them is this other Shadow Garden member with her back towards the camera. And it turns out that that woman is Rose. Basically, if you look really, really closely at the screenshot, you'll see that while Rose has cut her hair short, she still has the single curl that she has to her hair. I thought that was a nice little callback where we see Rose as a member of Shadow Garden in the very first episode, but there's no way to know it's her until the season finale. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much everything. I enjoy the issue. This was just straight up action. It's basically just a little brief moments being interrupted by a huge fight scene, or I should say a huge fight scene being interrupted by little tiny moments. But yeah, this is mostly just a fight scene. I would say this is like 85% Cid fighting Beatrix and Iris. And then, well, actually, I'll probably even say maybe 90% of Cid fighting Beatrix and Iris. And then the rest of it is just kind of setting up for hopefully season 2. But there you go. I liked it. I thought it was a really good adaptation of the Eminence and Shadow. There are like nitpicks, of course. Mostly it's just stuff like I wish there was more humor. The manga has a lot more humor, and I'm assuming the light novel has more humor as well. A lot of it was, there's a lot of it here, but there's more that could have been in here that's not. But that's like a nitpick. Also, just the fact that Shadow Garden members aren't wearing masks is kind of... I get why they're doing it, so you can easily distinguish who's who. But it's also like, well, not only should the audience be able to distinguish who's who, but you're also revealing who the Shadow Garden members are because they're not hiding their identities. But I guess, I don't know. It's just one of those funny things where it's like they wear masks in the manga and the light novel, but they don't in the anime. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was good. I love the fact that they really played on the fact that Cid is a mob character in his own series. It's great. I mean, again, this is not anything that the anime like made up themselves. It's in the manga and it's in the light novel. I'm assuming it's in the light novel more. In the manga, Cid does seem to appear more than he does in this anime. But yeah, I just love the fact that like Cid is not only the mob character in his own fantasy, he's also the mob character in his own series. Every arc revolves around some other character. Like there is no arc where that deals with Cid specifically. Cid just inserts himself into everybody else's problems unknowingly for the most part. Like he just goes in and he kind of like messes things up or even makes things better. But it's not like the arc was about him. The arc is always about like other people, and he just ends up getting involved in some way. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to wait too long for season 2. It would be nice if we get it like next year. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. If we're even going to get a season 2. I hope we do. It seems to have been successful, at least from what I've seen. It seems like it gets ranked pretty high up when it comes to like views and discussions and stuff. But I guess we'll find out. But there you go. There's Eminence and Shadow, episode 20, Advent of the Demon, the final episode of the season. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.